Okay, man, these are starting to get a little bit out of hand. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Sea Radio. My name is Corbett. Thank you very much for clicking on this video. Just a heads up, there are two Red Sox games today. We're going to be streaming the second one right here on this channel, or watching it together, I should say. That's going to start tonight, right around 6:40 p.m. Eastern Time. Hopefully, the Red Sox can pull out at least one game today against the Baltimore Orioles. But before they start that, we got to talk about the Pittsburgh Pirates. Yeah, right, because the Pittsburgh Pirates are currently not a very good baseball team. They're currently sitting at 17-34 on the season. That is already 13 and a half games back of the Cubs, who lead the division, and it's not looking like they're improving anytime soon. And obviously, when a team is starting off on a really bad stretch, and they just simply have a generational talent on their roster, people immediately start going to mock trades. And that's exactly what's happening with the Pittsburgh Pirates and Paul Skenes. And for the Red Sox, obviously having a wealth of prospects, everyone's coming up with a proposal to get him in Boston. And I got to tell you, these are getting a little bit ridiculous. The biggest one that I've seen, and the first one that I saw that really kicked off this video, was from an article from Mark Feinsand, who talked about the likelihood of the Pirates trading Paul Skenes, where in that, an executive proposed this trade right here. I guess the Red Sox could send Tristan Casas, Roman Anthony, Marcelo Meyer, Christian Campbell, and Tanner Houck, assuming they won't trade their extended guys, which automatically Christian Campbell is one of their extended guys, so doesn't really make a ton of sense there. Writing that down makes me think, maybe the Pittsburgh Pirates should make a call. And yeah, if that was a possibility, maybe the Pirates should make a call, because this is simply not going to happen. Both Tanner Houck and Tristan Casas are currently at their lowest possible perceived value, right? You've Casas, who got injured again and is out for the season again. You've got Tanner Houck, who's pitching maybe the worst in Major League Baseball right now, right? He's currently on the IL. But even if you take those guys out of this trade, it's still three top 10 prospects in Major League Baseball and the three best prospects to come through the Red Sox system in a very long period of time. Even on paper, trading Marcelo Meyer, Roman Anthony, and Christian Campbell, all for Paul Skenes, is a pretty big overpay, right? I just don't see the Boston Red Sox even considering this as a possibility. There's honestly no way this happens. 5 dudes, 2 major league players, 3 major league players, I should say, with Christian Campbell in there, your 2 biggest prospects, all for one guy. It's just simply, it's not going to happen, is it? And this is exactly what I'm talking about, where you sit there and you say, man, these Red Sox trade ideas for Paul Skenes are just simply getting silly. This one is totally out of the world of contention when it comes to the idea of trading for Paul Skenes. There's no way the Red Sox entertain this one. However, this isn't the only one that's been proposed. Some of the other trade proposals that involve the Red Sox acquiring Paul Skenes, which for a second, if we think about, would be absolutely fantastic, right? You talk about, hey, the Red Sox need to become this sort of powerhouse in the AL East. It is a little bit wide open. The Yankees are clearly ahead in the division right now, but they're not setting the world on fire. How do the Red Sox get to that? Well, a 1-2 punch of Crochet and Paul Skenes at the top of your rotation, that would certainly help you get there. And some of these proposed trades, they're a little bit more down to earth, like this one from Jim Riley, a baseball YouTuber who created a video talking about some potential Paul Skenes trades. And of course, the Red Sox are mentioned in this. He had the Red Sox trading Marcelo Meyer, Franklin Arias, Luis Perez, and Brian Bayo over to Pittsburgh in exchange for Skenes. And this one, to me, is a lot more grounded in reality. On paper, at least according to baseball trade values, it really doesn't come close to matching what Paul Skenes is worth on paper. But at the same time, too, you take it off paper and look at it in reality, I could see the Red Sox and the Pirates kind of agreeing that this is a fair trade for both sides, right? The Red Sox get this generational pitcher. The Pirates get a top 10 prospect in Major League Baseball, a guy who's pretty much Major League ready in Marcelo Meyer. They get Franklin Arias, who is definitely going to be moving up some prospect rankings this year. You've got Luis Perez, who is by far and away the Red Sox best. Or actually, I don't even know if he's still the best, but he has the highest ceiling right now in the Red Sox farm system when it comes to pitching. Once he gets healthy off of his Tommy John surgery, there's a pretty good chance he's going to end up on MLB's top 100 list as well. And then obviously you throw Brian Bayo in there, a controlled young pitcher on a pretty decent salary, and you sit there and you say, hey, okay, this one isn't too bad, right? I think as a Red Sox fan, it would be really, really tough to part with these names from your system, but getting back Paul Skenes, that actually does make some sense for the Boston Red Sox. The other one that I saw came from our favorite place to get Red Sox trade proposals, and that is Bleacher Report, who considered the idea of trading Roman Anthony, Franklin Arias, and Luis Paredes over to the Pirates for Paul Skenes. To be honest with you, I actually think this one kind of makes some sense too, right? If you're the Pittsburgh Pirates, there's no way you're even entertaining an idea of trading Paul Skenes without the name Roman Anthony involved, right? He's the best prospect in baseball. Paul Skenes has the potential to be the best pitcher in baseball. He's already at the major league level. I think this is a name that if the Red Sox were to genuinely make a call to the Pittsburgh Pirates, he would be the only name the Pirates wouldn't hang up for, right? I mean, let's be honest here. There's going to be a lot of teams in Major League Baseball who would trade just about anybody to get their hands on Roman Anthony right now, right? That's just reality. So I actually don't think these trades are too unfairly categorized as silly trades for the Boston Red Sox, or specifically for the Pittsburgh Pirates, I think. But we're a Red Sox channel, so we're going to talk about it from the Red Sox point of view. I just don't think this is going to happen, and it's not going to happen for a couple of different reasons. Well, guys like Jeff Passan and Ken Rosenthal are putting out right now that it actually does make some sense for the Pirates to go out there and trade Paul Skenes right now, mostly because of where the Pirates are at in terms of their situation, in terms of how far they really are from being a competitive team in Major League Baseball. Combine that with the idea that the Pirates owner really doesn't like to spend a whole lot of money, and the fact that right now Paul Skenes is probably one of, if not the most valuable trade piece in Major League Baseball right now. He's one of the most valuable trade pieces in baseball history if the Pirates were to make him available, and you know that teams are definitely going to be calling at the Major League deadline, right? If the Pirates continue to be 13, 15, 17, 20 games back of first place in this division, they will definitely not be buying at this year's deadline, which means a lot of teams are immediately going to be saying, hey, what about this Skenes guy? You looking to get rid of this guy? What would it take to get that done, right? There's a whole lot of reasons why the Pittsburgh Pirates would sit there and say, yeah, okay, right? It makes some sense for us to put Paul Skenes on the market. However, that doesn't seem to be the reality. According to an anonymous Pittsburgh Pirate executive, the answer when asked about a Paul Skenes trade was, quote, no way, no chance, no how. When asked about it to GM Ben Cherington, old friend of the Sox, he flat out said it's not going to happen. In my opinion, the reason they don't want to trade him is because they know they have a superstar, right? They know they have a guy who's going to bring in a lot of views every fifth day. They know he's going to be a guy who brings in a lot of people to seats every fifth day. They know they have a guy who is going to be a generational talent who they don't need to pay like a generational talent for a pretty long period of time here. They have no reason to move on from Paul Skenes, right? Outside of the fact that you could get a pretty decent prospect haul for him, and by pretty decent, I mean one of the best prospect hauls in Major League Baseball. They could also get a pretty decent prospect haul 3 years from now when he's got 2 years left of arbitration and still make a whole lot of money during that time, right? If you're a greedy owner who only cares about bottom line profits, this guy's kind of your white horse, right? He's your white elephant, whatever you want to call him. He's that guy that's going to bring you to the promised land when it comes to dollars and not actually have to spend anything. So for a team like the Pirates, this is a dream come true. Having a absolutely superstar level talent that's going to bring butts to seats without actually having to pay him, yeah, they're probably not getting rid of that guy either. But even from the Red Sox point of view, even if the Pirates sit there and they say, hey, maybe we'll entertain the idea of trading Paul Skenes, I don't really see the Red Sox trading anything that would actually take to get this job done, right? Because again, like we spoke about, the Red Sox would need to put on Marcelo Meyer, Roman Anthony, Christian Campbell, a combination of those three guys to get this deal done. And I just think at this point, they've invested too much time into having these guys be the future of this ball club, right? Because despite the fact that the two of these guys are still wallowing away here in AAA right now, you could very clearly tell that this is the Red Sox future plans, right? Roman Anthony right now is the number one prospect in baseball. He's a guy that it really does feel like the Red Sox have put their chips on the table for. I don't think they trade him for anybody, right? They could trade him for everybody. I don't think they trade him for anybody. I just think they think the talent is too immense, and they think he's going to be too impactful on the Red Sox to make a deal like that. Marcelo, I do think, is a bit more movable. The issue with that is the Red Sox current situation, right? You'll take a look at what Trevor Story's given you on the field in terms of defense and plate appearances. That's not sustainable for a successful team, if we're being totally honest, right? I think we've kind of all made that decision, or at least fans of Trevor Story. I think people have already made that decision way before Trevor Story actually started to suck like this. But for fans of Trevor Story like myself, I think we've all kind of come to the conclusion that, hey, this might not be the best solution for the Red Sox, combined with the fact that you have that issue over there at first base this season, and your solution is more than likely going to be Christian Campbell. You kind of need Marcelo Meyer right now, right? You kind of need him. Trading him away right now would sort of just create this bigger hole in the Red Sox lineup than what you'd actually get back. And I know that sounds crazy to say because, again, if we just imagine Paul Skenes and Garrett Crochet together on the mound for a playoff series, all of a sudden it's like, yeah, I'd part with pretty much anybody to get that done. But the Red Sox looking at things a little bit differently. They're looking at this in terms of how is this going to play out over 5-6 years. And if you bring Marcelo Meyer up, you fill a gigantic hole in your lineup, when in the rotation, you've already got Crochet. You could go out this offseason if you really want to and get yourself a really solid number 2 without having to give up a Roman Anthony or Marcelo Meyer. To me, at the end of the day, just looking at these trade proposals here, they're just kind of silly because there's no way it's going to happen. There's no way the Pittsburgh Pirates don't milk this cow for a little bit longer before they put it out to pasture, right? And there's no way the Red Sox, at least at this point in time, are sitting there thinking about the idea of moving Roman Anthony or Marcelo Meyer for just about anyone in Major League Baseball. Maybe if we were talking about the offseason, things look a little bit different, right? There was a lot more faith in Trevor Story coming into the year. There was a lot more faith in Christian Campbell being able to be a legitimately above average second baseman. There was a lot of faith that Tristan Casas would stay healthy for an entire season, but things changed pretty quickly here. And I think just looking at the Red Sox situation, they don't even remotely entertain this idea, even if it's put on the table. So sitting here having these discussions about the idea of trading for Paul Skenes, in my opinion, just doesn't make a ton of sense. You sit here and you make these trade proposals, you get all wound up for something that's just simply not going to happen, and it makes me feel a little bit silly even making a video about it. But what? We've talked about 3 different trade proposals in this video alone, and there are plenty more that other people have created about the idea of the Red Sox and Paul Skenes. And I guess the silver lining here, what does this actually mean for the Red Sox? They're not getting Paul Skenes, but it is nice to see that the Red Sox farm system is so respected that the idea of trading for Paul Skenes boils down to whether or not the Red Sox are willing to part with their top prospects, right? There's not a ton of teams in Major League Baseball right now who could legitimately put together a package that would suffice the Pirates trading Paul Skenes away. The Red Sox are in that category, right? It just goes to show you how important having a top farm system is. You can essentially go and get any single player on the open market. You could essentially go and get any single player on the trade market you really want. You just have to be willing to give up what it's going to take. And I just don't see either side here being willing to do that. But that's just my opinion. So let me know in the comment section down below. What do you guys think about all this? What do you think about the trade proposals here for Paul Skenes? Are there any of them that you're like, oh yeah, you know what? I could actually see that happening. Are you sitting there kind of like me where it's like, guys, this is just kind of silly, right? Let's have this conversation in 2027 or 2028 when Paul Skenes is closer to free agency, because by then there's not a single chance in hell that the Pirates are extending this guy. Then it becomes more realistic. For now, to me, it just feels like you're just throwing water off a boat into the ocean saying, look, guys, we made a splash. I don't know. That's just my opinion, though. Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Just simply helps out a ton, and it's the best way to let me know you're enjoying the content. Don't forget, if you guys want to listen instead of watch these episodes, all you got to do is head over to your favorite podcasting app and look up Red Seat Radio. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. I will see you tonight, 6:40 p.m. Eastern Time, and as always, in the Red Seats.